Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at a $40 electric blower from Ferex, which is actually from ALDI. When we saw this on sale, you know the way ALDI is, they come and go. These quick sales, they're kind of there as long as they carry it, and then they're gone. And they're gone forever. Well, not always, but it's very difficult to predict, so we checked the weekly ad and this popped up. Now, originally I was interested in this product because the shape of this thing, the Ferex, looked a lot like the Works blower that's available for about 80 to 100 bucks online, but for half the price. And I thought that the shape and size of the Ferex battery and the Works battery were very similar, at least by the online pictures. You can see in terms of kind of the pin connections and the release mechanisms, very, very similar. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm going to get basically a free extra battery plus a whole new tool for the price of basically a new battery. But I was wrong. It turns out that the design, while similar, is not identical. You can probably make out some of the details here, but the number of pins in the connectors is not the same. In fact, while, the power ratings, if you can see how that looks there, lights show up when you press, while it's probably the same kind of Chinese manufacturer, there definitely are design differences to not allow you to cross-reference these products and basically use one battery system for a different supplier. So it is unfortunate that they don't overlap, but nonetheless, the Ferex system is their own ecosystem, and it is in fact different than the Works, if that's something that you were thinking about. So the question is, does it work? Well, let's check it out. I just took it out of the box, and you can see this is kind of how it comes. Basically, it is a 20-volt blower, just like the Works batteries. The difference is that this is a 20-volt max battery at 1.5 amp hours. It has a little less capacity than the 2 amp hour batteries that you're going to see in a lot of the Works products. So it probably doesn't last quite as long, but it theoretically should give similar power. It's rated at 120 miles per hour wind speed, and you can see that it is a fairly narrow, small little aperture here at the end of the device, but it's fairly lightweight. I mean, it seems like you're kind of what to expect for a lot of these inexpensive lawn equipment offerings, and it should work just fine. You compare it to the Works plug-in Beast. Now this is a much more heavy-duty plug-in blower, and this is obviously a lot more powerful. I think this has like 560 CFM. Yeah, so this goes basically rated at 60 miles an hour to 110 miles an hour. So technically the miles per hour rating may be a little bit less, but I don't know if I believe that. And it has a 320 CFM to 600 CFM capacity. That's the cubic feet per minute. That's how much airflow is actually going through this thing. And you can see this is a much wider aperture. So no doubt that this is more powerful. But is it necessary? This plug-in is going to be a lot more powerful. It's running off 120 volts and it's pushing a lot more air. Now, the weight of these products is actually fairly similar, honestly. Coming in, my guess is maybe around 6 or 7 pounds in terms of the overall weight. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, but that's my rough estimate. So first, let's see how the Works actually performs. Now, when plugged in, there's basically 3 settings. There's off, and then a low mode and a high mode, depending on what you're doing. Let's check it out. Well, it works. Let's check out the Ferex. I don't know how much you could make out with the grass, but I was basically blowing on the grass so you could see how much of the leaves of grass were feeling the force of the wind. And basically the Ferex had a very tiny narrow beam, not surprisingly, and the Works was a much wider surface. So you'll be clearing out the leaves a lot more efficiently with the Works. However, the fact that it needs to be plugged in is a huge inconvenience. And at a $50 price point, there really isn't another option that combines the power of the plug-in and the convenience of the battery. Between the two, I think for my responsibilities here on this size yard, for basically removing some of the dead leaves and the grass, I think the Ferex is going to be sufficient. I think that yes, it's not as powerful, so depending on what you're using this for, if you're blow drying like a car or something, then I would say you're probably going to want to use something more powerful like the Works to really push all that water off of the surface area much more efficiently. The Ferex is certainly sufficient. It is just a one-speed, one-trick pony with a small battery that will probably give you about maybe 15-20 minutes of good use. I have not run it to depletion yet. I just unboxed it, so this is my initial feeling. But based on its performance in this little area here, it's certainly not as powerful. It's not moving as many leaves, but it's moving them enough and it's getting the job done. So for a typical homeowner, I think it's just fine. At the end of the day, it blows, and that's all that matters. Whoops.